council meeting, monthly meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lisa, could we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Peter Drapo.
Here.
Dale Macklin.
Here.
Jerry Clarion.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Here.
Joseph Gravel.
Here.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
All present. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the previous meeting, which would be March 14th of 2022.
So move.
Second. Good idea, Joe.
Any discussion? No discussion? Lisa, roll call?
Roll call is Peter Drapo.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Clarion.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Next item is communications. There are no items. Followed by reports of committees and commission.
Erica?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council, members of the public. It's been another busy month. March kind of flew right by. Again, still focused on budget. The bad news on our budget is that costs are up on everything from wages and benefits to utilities and commodities. The good news is we're going to be getting some increased state revenue sharing that we haven't had in the past. We're going to have our next budget meeting on Wednesday, and I will have an estimate of the mill rate by then, and discussions on how we can adjust that, and we'll move forward from there. It is anticipated we will have a mill rate increase, and that's critical in order to keep up with our infrastructure needs that have been deferred, in addition to keeping up with inflation. Pretty much everybody's in the same boat this year. So enough about budget until we move on to that meeting. The March coffee with the manager meeting was held March 2nd. We had it at the point after, and again, we tried an afternoon meeting. I'm done with the afternoon meetings. We did have people that wanted afternoon meetings, so working folks could come to those meetings, and no one has shown up. We had even fewer people at the last one than we did at the first one. So we're moving back to daytime meetings. Those seem to get the most participation. And the whole point is to get as many people there to generate ideas, and that's not going to happen if nobody's showing up except for the media and the person from Central Maine Growth Council that helps me. So moving back to mornings next time around. There was one person who did attend that last meeting. She's a new attendee, so that was good, and she did have some great input. She brought up her desire to see more community events that focus on families and children and engaging the youth here in Winslow. So she had some good ideas there. The Facilities Committee met on March 1st. Discussions focused on the town office building, this building, including fire and police facilities. The committee has charged the department heads with developing a list of requirements for housing their departments, which should include needs for office space, sleeping quarters, locker rooms, break rooms, vehicle and equipment storage, etc. We have decided we're going to be engaging the services of an architect to give us some guidance on how we move forward with our facility needs, whether it be a brand new facility, and if so, where, and what that might look like. Discussions are continuing around the Taconic Bridge reconstruction project. We had a meeting with MDOT on March 14th. Unfortunately, MDOT, after doing their traffic studies, doesn't believe that closing the bridge completely will be beneficial to traffic flow. They are citing backups coming off Carter Memorial Bridge into Waterville at Kennedy Memorial Drive. They also have said that they don't find that the duration of the project being reduced by 8 months or the cost being reduced by $4 million are consequential. They have deemed those inconsequential savings. And they're indicating that relocating the utilities will take approximately 8 months regardless of what solution is taken for traffic control. So it sounds like they've pretty much made up their mind to continue with their plan that was announced a few months ago to keep one lane of traffic open coming into Winslow from the Waterville side and diverting all of the westbound traffic from Waterville into Winslow to either the Carter Memorial Bridge or up to Benton and across into Fairfield. I will say that Waterville and Winslow remain in lockstep in our determination that we still think it would be best for all involved to close that bridge completely. We're just not kind of getting any traction. There's going to be more meetings held, but I really don't think we're going to get our way on this one, despite both councils having indicated their preference to do it this way. The only really good thing to come out of that meeting with MDOT the last time was that they do have preemption in place. What that means, if anyone's not familiar with a preemption signal, if the alarms go off, fire station, police station, they can turn the signals to stop traffic going across the bridge so that the emergency vehicles can travel in the wrong direction. That said, it's going to take a couple minutes to clear the bridge once they turn the signals, so it's still a delay, but it is in place to try and help facilitate all of our fire equipment, emergency equipment, and police cars if they need to get across the bridge quickly. We have some good news coming out of the KRDA First Park. For the first year ever, they are going to return 100% of all of the municipal payments will be returned to us at the end of the year. So they're actually going to be returning 110% based on their budget that we just voted on in March, which means slightly more than the $55,000 we pay in. So, and because their debt service is paid off, we should be in that positive cash flow situation from here on out.
Is that gonna keep growing every year?
Our input never grows. That's a set amount.
That's
But
our
yes, they are
input.
anticipating that the revenues coming back should continue to grow. There are 4 new properties under contract right now in the park. There's a plan for a solar facility going in there towards the back of the park. And the more that those property taxes increase in the park, the more that Oakland gets for their property taxes, that's where we get the revenues given back to the towns that participate. The Comprehensive Plan Committee reconvened for the first time in 9 months on March 23rd. The biggest factors we have in completing the plan are determining where the growth areas for Winslow will be, where the next industrial park will be, and where to put new housing, including affordable housing. 2 issues are coming forth again and again as we try to finalize this thing. The first is the limits of water and sewer infrastructure in the town. That limits the areas of town that can reasonably be deemed growth areas because it just doesn't go that far, and it's hard to plan a growth zone when you don't have water and sewer running to those areas. Right now, the industrial park sewer stops at Verde Drive, and we've already had some issues with being able to develop in there. As far as where we put the next industrial park, we do have land still available behind our current industrial park, but again, there's no services back there, including we haven't built roads back into that area as yet. The second impediment that comes up, not just in our comprehensive plan, but in development as well, is our zoning. The vast majority of land in Winslow is in the rural and conservation zones. That encompasses major highways such as China Road, which are ideal for commercial development, but zoning really prohibits our development in those areas. So one of the factors that's definitely going to be considered as part of the comprehensive plan is recommendations for zoning changes. We're meeting again this month, moving forward, and hopefully we're going to wrap that up. On March 25th, I attended the MTCMA Managers Interchange in Bangor. I was on a panel of speakers discussing solar projects, and not from the standpoint of knowing a lot about solar projects, but from the standpoint of where you can run into issues with solar projects when you're trying to develop them in your town. I was on a panel with Betsy Fitzgerald from up in Washington County, as well as 2 solar developers, and it was a pretty good discussion. Things went well, and the comments that were provided as to how to answer constituents' misgivings about solar projects were well received. Other topics of note from the manager's interchange revolved around affordable housing. We had, actually, most of the interchange was dedicated to affordable housing legislation, impediments. Again, zoning comes up as the major impediment for developers. They said it's not money. They can get the money, but there's zoning issues almost everywhere when they're trying to get these housing developments in place. Legislatively, LD 2003, I've been sending council information as that comes out. That is the affordable housing bill, which implements the recommendations of the Housing Commission. On the surface, looks really good until you start digging into what it's going to require us to do as a town, what it will require all municipalities to do, taking away our ability to determine where we want to locate multi-unit housing. One of the major components of the bill is that all lots, regardless of where they are within the town, regardless of how they're currently zoned, would have to accommodate up to 4-unit dwellings. Obviously, that could create an unfunded mandate. If somebody comes in and wants to put a multi-unit dwelling where we don't have water and sewer, we may be required to make services available in order to meet that demand. So MMA has come out in opposition to that. There was an update today. There has been an amended version has gone through the committee. They're still pretty committed to moving this forward, and home rule is not a priority in terms of the legislative viewpoint on this. So more to come, but I think it's very important that anybody who's concerned about this educate themselves on LD 2003. I've got information. You can look it up online, but also contact your representatives.
When was the last multi-unit 4-apartment house built in the town of Winslow?
It hasn't, because we have zoning issues. Where do we put it? Right now, we don't really have anywhere to develop it. That's part of what the comprehensive plan is supposed to do. But what I'm saying is those zoning requirements won't exist under the legislation that's planned. They can put a multi-unit housing development anywhere they want, regardless of what the zoning is. And we would be required to accommodate that.
Not a good thing.
No, it's not a good thing. I think we all agree we need affordable housing. I think
Yeah.
that's abundantly obvious anywhere you go. But it needs to be, I think we need to work with each municipality in trying to figure out where that's best located and how to go forward with that. We are involved as the town in something called a home consortium. We're involved with multiple surrounding communities. What that is a way for contiguous communities to get together and form a consortium that can apply for greater dollar figures from the federal government as long as we are contiguous. And there's about 14 communities that have showed up so far looking at the potential of being involved in this. So we're working towards doing something about it, but our efforts may end up for naught if this bill goes through. Project updates. The most exciting one would be our new town website. We got our training last week, or actually March 29th. Super easy to use, at least as far as I thought. Lisa was in that training as well. It's got so many possibilities. Amanda, Parks Director, was just, she could hardly sit still in her seat. She's so excited about what she's going to be able to do with this website going out there. Lots of ability to have residents sign up for notifications on various different parts of our website. They don't have to sign up for all of it. They can sign up for just pieces. It's beautiful. It's intuitive when you look at it as the user. There's big buttons on the most important things you want to find, and we can edit it as we see fit. We don't have to wait for the developer to help us out with that. We can do it in-house. So really excited to get that launched. All we have to do is put the finishing touches on it, make sure that we've got all the information organized the way that we want it, and then we can launch it. And we're ready to flip the switch when department heads and myself get everything in order. The ball's in our court at this point. But I did put a web address in my town report, so if you're interested in looking at the new town website and what it's going to look like, you're not really going to be able to do anything in there yet, but you can see it and get a feel for what it's going to look like. Really happy that's getting underway. The phone system upgrade has finally been completed. There was some delays due to not having fiber installed out at Public Works, and some issues that we had on our side with actual infrastructure right here in the town offices. It's kind of weird how all of our infrastructure is put together. Some of it sits over in the fire department, but it has been completed. The only issue I'm finding with our phone system upgrade is that we're now having issues with our fire alarm. I keep getting woken up in the middle of the night because apparently there's no dial tone to phone line 2, and it keeps creating a fault. So I saw Consolidated was out here Friday for a good deal of the day, but it's not fixed because I got another notification on Saturday. So they're going to have to fix that, but at least the entire system, as far as our actual calling capabilities, that's all taken care of. Dude Solutions, the asset management system. Now that we're finishing up with budget, we can start focusing on that again. We have 2 full days scheduled with the developer on May 4th and 5th. Prior to those meetings, I'll be meeting with the key department heads, which will be police, fire, public works, and parks, to finalize our data structure, and we can start picking up on that again. Junior high environmental study, I have nothing new to report on that. We are, Paul just gave me a couple of other environmental firms I can go out to and check with. We're going to have to move on from the individual that we've had working for us because we're just not getting any response on that. I also attached reports from the food waste pilot, which we are ticking upward slightly in that. That's good news, and a report from the Agriculture Commission. And that's about all we've got going on.
Okay, how long will it take to get a new person, a new firm on the junior high?
Can't answer that till I start calling.
That's it.
Paul, you're not here for a report tonight, are you, or are you? Okay. No, we have it right here.
I would like to mention, if I can, we're going to start opening Saturdays, Saturday morning,
Oh, okay.
for the next month, for people who want to come out.
So Saturday mornings from
7 to 12.
7 to 12. And that's gonna be how many Saturdays?
Probably the next 4 Saturdays, if they may.
So the next 4 Saturdays, just so the public knows, Public Works will be open to dump their trees, leaves, brush out in back of the Public Works building. Thanks, Paul.
Peter might have a report.
Yes, Peter. Do you have something you want to bring to our attention, or?
Nice to bring you some positive news, you know?
We need it.
We often ask, how are your students doing? What's the measures of success that you have, and how your kids are doing in school? Of course, we have state assessments, we have graduation rates, we have different activities that we look at, number of kids that are participating in things. So I'd like to share a couple of things with you this evening, something positive, something other than COVID. And that's not to say that COVID hasn't gone away, because I'm still doing letters every day with 3 cases, 4 cases here and there. But I'd like to share something positive. First thing I'd like to share is, you may have seen an article in the Sun Journal, and this has to do with a staff member, where they did an article on the 50th anniversary of Title IX, and they recognized female trailblazers in Maine. And they honored those 10 female trailblazers in Maine on the 50th anniversary of Title IX, and one of our educators was one of the individuals that was honored, and that was Brenda Beckwith. She's our PE teacher and one of our coaches here in Winslow. So it was nice to have her honored in that way. The other thing that I'd like to mention, we have students who attend the Tech Center in Waterville as part of their education. And they recently participated in the Skills USA Championships. And just to give you a little bit of background on that, 41 students from Mid-Maine Tech Center in Waterville competed March 18th at the Skills USA Maine State Championships. More than 700 students representing 23 career and technical schools throughout the state participated in the event hosted by United Technology Center. The gold medal winners will represent Maine in the National Skills Championships scheduled for June 20th to the 24th in Atlanta, Georgia. So, we had a gold medal winner. And our gold medal winner was Dan Whitman from Winslow. And Dan actually won 2. The other gold medal he won was in photography, and the first one was in digital cinema production. So that's very impressive.
What was the last name, Pete?
Whitman. The other piece to that is we had several state bronze medalists compete and place. Brooke Cunningham from Winslow placed in her category. Elijah Hubert from Winslow placed in the category, and Nick West placed in his category. So all really good pieces. When you get 700 kids and you've got a small community like Winslow, and you've got that many kids who are placing and finishing, that's very good. The other thing that I want to mention to you, which is very impressive, I'm not going to mention any names because I think some families haven't been notified yet, and the families wanted to notify their families, and out of respect to those families, I don't want to mention anything this evening. But 4 of our seniors this year were accepted to Ivy League schools. 1 person accepted at Harvard, 1 person accepted at Brown, and 2 accepted at Dartmouth. Now, I want to remind you that this is Winslow, Maine. We have less than 100 students in our graduating class, and that's a nice nice accolades for everybody, K through 12, because this isn't just one building. This is a culmination of events throughout the years. Obviously, it's tremendous support by the parents. So it's just nice news to give during a time when all we've been talking about is COVID. So the other thing that I want to mention is tomorrow afternoon, the committee that's been meeting for the addition to the elementary school. That addition, of course, is funded by CARES funds. Tomorrow afternoon, the committee meets with the architects, and they meet with the construction company, and we find out what the guaranteed maximum price is going to be to see if we can move forward with that project. So we're holding our breaths a little bit, but we're pretty excited if that can happen. We desperately need definitely need the space, and it would be a wonderful project because it is being funded with CARES dollars. Right.
Oh, go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, Peter, could you send out a little memo after or something, if positive, if it's positive, just to let us know that, how that worked out on the meeting?
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of us that are interested.
Okay, good.
If things go good tomorrow, Peter, on that, is there any time frame discussed on when that may be complete or when it started?
Breaking ground late spring, early summer, and I believe ready for the following fall.
Ready for the next school year?
Correct.
Oh,
How big?
How big? 4 classrooms, bathrooms. I can't remember the square footage, Joel, do you have that?
remember the square footage.
Well, that's close enough.
and all that money is coming through the COVID CARES money.
It is. None of it is local funds. None of it is local tax dollars. No. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
No other reports? Wait. Oh, go ahead.
Yep.
Make a motion to accept all reports as read.
Second. Discussion?
The only discussion I have is I just noticed that, something about liability insurance for events down at the park.
Yeah, so Erica had talked to one of her meetings with the public, and somebody mentioned the farmer's market. Well, the agricultural committee had already discussed it last year about wanting to start a farmer's market. So we were trying to get that set up, but we were running into a roadblock when we couldn't find a market manager kind of to oversee the whole thing, and they would form their own, I would imagine, tax identity so that they could fund their own insurance,
Yeah.
and we wouldn't have to worry about it. Well, we couldn't find that. So in order, the two ways that possibly we could come and do it on our own are require the people that do sell any product down there would have to have their own insurance. So that would be the best way to handle it. So the town, we looked at through MMA, and Amanda checked in with that, and we would have to have insurance, which I'm sure would be costly. She didn't get a price, but
And we're looking here, this may also affect the programs like Fort Halifax Days, so.
It could. Fort Halifax Days, Amanda has indicated that most of those vendors already have insurance because the displays and the performers and all, they do this all over the place. They have to have insurance. What it could affect is if we have other events. Anytime we're looking to rent that park out or even hold our own events there where we have any vendors, performers, services come in, they need to have insurance. If somebody doesn't have insurance, we either need to, my suggestion would be provide them an avenue for getting their own insurance, or we would need to cover them on the town's liability. And in most cases, that's not something we're gonna want to do. The biggest area it comes up with actually is for food vendors, because with them, there's possibility of people being poisoned. So that's where we're gonna find it most, and that's mostly what comes up with the farmers markets is food liability.
Yeah.
There is an exception when it comes to boosters. They would not be, it would not apply to them.
Okay, and I don't wanna make a big deal, I don't wanna get into it, just, could you update us, cause like, I go down there and I run an event, and if somebody stubs, pounds a thumb, am I liable as a person running that event, or am I under the town?
You're under the town, but we, as a town, don't want to take on that
I
liability.
understand that.
Yeah,
More to come then.
yes.
I'm all set, thank you.
Okay. Peter, did you have something?
An answer for Jerry, 3,900 square feet.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on the reports? No? Lisa?
Peter Drapo.
Yes.
Dale Mafflin.
Yes.
Jerry Querian.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Next up on the agenda is public comment.
Is there anybody here from the public who would like to comment on any item that is not on the agenda tonight? There being none,
We move forward to ordinance number 3-2021, providing for an amendment to the Winslow zoning map to rezone a portion of tax map 13 owned by Steve Martin. The portion is described as lots 87, 88, and 89 of the Dunbar Acres and Dunbar Acres Annex subdivision from the high-density residential district to the mixed-use district. This item was last tabled on March 14th.
Won't move.
Through the chair.
we get second.
Second.
To,
Take it off the
Take it off the
table.
table.
thank
Take
you.
it on.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Eric.
The planning board did meet to have their discussions and form a recommendation on this ordinance. Their vote was 6 voted in favor and 1 abstained. However, as we found out with the solar ordinances, trying to get those zoning variances and in the case of Roderick Road, changing the zoning in order to allow it, when it's rezoning a portion of property, the planning board needs to do a finding of facts. They did not do this, so we don't have the necessary documentation to move forward with this. My recommendation is that you table it for a remaining month and bring it back up in May. I have made them aware we need a finding of facts.
You're kidding.
No, I am not. That's a rule. And nobody wants to go to the training when I try to send them, so.
Eric, just one quick one. Can we have the first reading and they make their findings of fact for our second reading?
No, you're gonna put yourself in a situation where it can be appealed.
Yeah, yeah. So it appears, guys, that we're gonna have to table this till next month. The planning board has their meeting next Monday, and we'll discuss it with Amos and those others involved to get findings of facts to us for the next meeting.
I've already requested it.
So I'll make a motion. So we gotta vote on this motion to take it off the table.
We can do both right in a row.
Right.
Is there a second to table it again?
Well, if we.
You could just
we
defeat
can
the
just-
motion to take it off the
we can just
table and
Yeah.
then,
Is that what Jerry wanted to do? I'm sorry.
Yes, let's defeat it.
Thank you.
So the motion before us now is to take it off the table.
Correct.
Lisa, roll call.
Peter Drapo.
Can I ask a question first? Can we defeat it and then we don't have to do another vote?
That's
to
what we're
retable
doing,
it?
yes.
Okay, no.
Yes, so Jerry has taken it off the table
Yeah.
and he has removed his motion, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we are now voting to table the item?
No. Jerry's motion is to
We
take
haven't
it
voted
off
on
the
Jerry's
table.
motion. If we
Okay.
vote, we
We're
need
gonna
to
vote
vote
on
that
Jerry's
now.
motion.
Okay,
A no vote leaves it tabled.
Correct.
gotcha. All righty, so Peter
Could I
Drapo.
ask one I just want to make
Yes.
sure
Yeah.
that a no vote will keep it tabled but won't defeat it, right? Won't.
That's right, it's just keeping it
So we're
tabled.
sure 100% of that?
Yes.
Okay.
We're ready?
We're ready.
Peter Drapo.
No.
Dale Mathlen.
No.
Jerry Clarion.
No.
Ray Karen.
No.
Joseph Gravel.
No.
Jeff West.
No.
Lee Trahan.
No.
All right.
Will we ever get this off the table?
Doesn't look it. Doesn't look it.
it's hard to get people to follow instructions.
That's
Okay.
gonna change.
So, we're moving on to ordinance number 4, 2022.
Yes.
An amendment to ordinance 15-2015, removing the requirement in paragraph B1 of sections 14-44 and 14-45 of the zoning ordinance requiring 1,000-foot abutter notice from the developer when applying for a building or a conditional use permit in mixed use and low-density residential zones. This was tabled on March 14th.
I'll make a motion that we take ordinance number 042022 through ordinance number 10-2022 as a group.
Second.
Discussion?
Can we do that because there's zoning changes? Because last time there was an issue with zoning
there-
changes have to be taken individually. No? Okay.
Not with
fine.
these.
Just
This is
go on.
not, if you were trying to take a zoning, like you're changing the zoning of a parcel of land, you are correct. These are changes to the zoning ordinance itself.
Okay. Just want to clarify.
So Lisa, we'll have a roll call on taking them as a group.
Yes, Peter Drapo.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Clarion.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Passes 7-0 as a group.
Through the chair,
Yes, Jeff?
I'd like to make a motion, we take ordinance number 02-2022 and 03-2022 as one.
Point of order.
Yeah.
I don't think we can on those two because they are not related.
We have to take a
Oh, I'm
vote,
sorry,
we
my
have to
bad.
take a vote on what we just voted on to consolidate first.
Oh, we have mine,
And
sorry.
we did.
We did.
We did,
We did,
we took those.
We took a vote on taking them all as one vote.
correct,
Now we have to vote to approve them as
correct.
a one
Yep,
group.
you're right. They're off the table, now we have to vote for them.
Now you have to vote for them
Okay,
as a
sorry.
group, as a group. Any discussion? No, Lisa, roll call
So this motion is for,
for approving ordinance number 042022 through ordinance number 10-2022 to approve those changes.
Oh, okay, so who was the second on that? I have Jeff as a first.
I'll second.
Thank you. Peter Drappo.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Quinn.
Yes.
Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Okay, so now that's gonna take us all the way up to new business. And ordinance number,
Old business, Lisa. We have two on
Did I
old
miss?
business.
old right up, oh, I'm sorry, yes, old business. Ordinance number 2-2022, an amendment to ordinance 57-1976 to adopt administrative changes to the town code, previously reviewed and approved by the planning board and the town council during the town code update project on October 25th, 2018, amending sections 1 through 18 and adding sections 1 through 19 through 1 through 27 per the attached document from the general code.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? And this is the second vote on this ordinance. No discussion? Roll call, Lisa?
Peter Drappo?
Yes.
Dale Macklin?
Yes.
Jerry Quirian?
Yeah.
Ray Karen?
Yes.
Joseph Gravel?
Yes.
Jeff West?
Yes.
Lee Trahan?
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Ordinance number 3-2022, an amendment to ordinance 45-1974, ordinance 06-2012, and ordinance 08-2012, updating section 4-3 and 4-4 of the town code, addressing time limits and fees charged for building permits, adding the underlined and deleting the strike-through language in the attached document.
So moved. Second.
Again, this is the second reading on this. Any discussion? No, Lisa, roll call?
Peter Drappo?
Yes.
Dale Macklin?
Yes.
Jerry Quirian?
Yes.
Ray Karen?
Yes.
Joseph Gravel?
Yes.
Jeff West?
Yes.
Lee Trahan?
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Now, new business. Order number 6-2022, an order providing for authorization for the town manager to sign the amended agreement between the town of Winslow and the Maine Public Employees Retirement System.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Eric, is there anything we need to know about this, or?
This is just pursuant to approval of the new police contract that you all voted through in November. In that contract, we agreed to change the police officers to the 2/3 MPERS program, and we have to sign a new agreement with MPERS in order to do that.
Lisa, roll call?
Yes, Peter Drappo.
Yes.
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Quirian. Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Through the chair.
Yes, Jeff.
Erica, do you need this gone through the second time tonight?
It's not urgent.
Next item, order number 7-2022, an order providing for authorization for the Public Works Director to commence the topographic site survey, the preliminary and final design for the project at the Chappie Brook Pump Station, with funds being allocated from the Sewer Department fund balance in the amount not to exceed $441,000.
So moved.
Second.
Paul, is this what you were here for, or? Any discussion or any questions for Paul?
If I may, through the chair.
Yes.
Paul, after these funds are allocated, how long roughly till the final design is done? And then once the design is done, I know it has to go out for bid, but what are we looking at for a time frame on breaking ground?
I would suspect if we're lucky, we'll break ground in spring.
Next spring? And then how long the project supposed to last till completion? Estimate?
Depending on the availability of equipment, probably at least a year.
At least a year?
A lot of the stuff, like generators, are a year out. That's why I'm trying to push things along, so we can get a contractor in there and start ordering materials, because some of the stuff has got long lead times, like everything else we do. So,
All right, now, what's the plan for, I guess for a better word, diversion of whatever is being pumped there during the project? I mean, what's the procedure on,
the contractors will have to set up bypass pumping to keep up with the flows and get it going across the river
okay,
while they swap out pumps and electrical and
Okay.
it's the, you know, the process is there. These guys have done that before.
all
I
right,
did check in with RDA as well, because the question had come up whether, you know, we might lose out if we do some of our own funding, that we are able to back fund this through our bonds when we get to that point. It is allowable expense, so when we finally get the project funded and bonded, that we can recoup these funds and use them somewhere else and get this financed.
So it will be permissible to
Yes.
replace, okay.
The only question they said, they haven't allocated funds for us yet, so it was kind of hard for them to say, yes, it is, but it is an allowable expense when we get to that point.
thank you, Paul.
Yep.
Thank you, Paul.
What are the funding sources for all of this? I get an idea of.
Well, right now, we've been awarded some money through Senator King, Senator Collins, through the earmarks. We've also put an application in for the SRF funds through the state, and then we're gonna go back to RDA for possible funding. So we've got 2 or 3 funding sources that we're looking at.
How about, town sewer account?
Well, that's where these funds are coming from right now, is our fund
Right.
balance. But hopefully, we can finance it and get these monies back to use on other projects that are short-term projects.
That will deplete our fund balance.
It's almost nothing.
We'll be using all but about $100,000 of our sewer fund balance in order to fund these permitting and survey instruments that we have to have done.
So, with only 100,000 plus or minus left, what happens if we have a catastrophic failure of one of the sewers?
I'm sure we could handle it one way or the other. I mean, even with the full fund balance, if we have a major catastrophe, we still wouldn't have enough funds anyway. I mean, we're looking at, this is a $6 million project at this point. That's why I'm trying to push things forward too, because the longer we go, the price keeps going up. We've gone from 5 to 6 in 2 years, so it's like everything else out there that's getting really expensive, so.
Through the chair, Dale, could we do a second vote tonight too? Would that help out, Paul?
That would be great if you guys are
Yeah.
inclined to do so.
Okay.
Through the chair, I just wanted to point out that I was not indicating that we shouldn't spend this money now at all. I'm in total agreement with Paul, we need to get this moving. I just wanted to make clear there's not gonna be a whole lot left to do further funding of this project or the other ones we've got on the plate once we do this. This is part of our ongoing infrastructure challenge to fund these projects that are critical in nature.
Well, if we don't do it now, Erica, next year that price is gonna go up. The year after that, it's gonna go up
Correct.
some more. And if something happens in the meantime, we may be left with no money, and I think Chaffee Brook is on the priority list right now, isn't it?
It is absolutely on the priority list.
So it's gotta be done. We don't have much choice.
And what happens, see, we have a very short window of when we can actually do a river crossing. So we need to make sure that, you know, we're not gonna meet it for this year in November. We wanna make sure we're ready to hit it next year, so we don't get thrown back another year.
When's that short window?
November, I believe.
November? That's not much.
I mean, it's not a big project. The contractor we've talked to in the past doesn't see this as a huge project. It's probably a couple of weeks at the most for them. I mean, it's not terribly far across the river, but,
Couple of weeks to just do the river crossing.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, there's probably, you know, the setup and getting
Right.
pipe fused and everything else, but the actual river crossing, but, you know, we wanna be ready to hit that window, otherwise we're back another year, so.
Yeah, thank you, Paul.
What's that, Council?
We ready for a vote then on the first reading? Lisa?
Peter Drappo?
Yes?
Dale Macklin?
Yes.
Jerry Clarion?
Yeah.
Ray Karen?
Yes.
Joseph Gravel?
Yes.
Jeff West?
Yes.
Lee Trahan?
yes.
Passes 7-0.
And
And now we need a motion to waive the second reading.
Second.
I'll make the motion to waive the second reading.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Lisa?
Peter Drapo.
Yes?
Dale Macklin.
Yes.
Jerry Querian. Ray Karen.
Yes.
Joseph Gravel.
Yes.
Jeff West.
Yes.
Lee Trahan.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Up next are discussion items. The first item is Spirit of
Just
America.
a second, Lisa.
Sure.
We just voted to waive the second reading, now we have to vote on the second reading. Is that the way it works?
No, you've approved the first reading,
Yeah,
and then you've waived the second.
okay,
So we just voted
Yeah.
on both. We're good.
okay. Thank you, Lisa.
You are welcome. So discussion items are Spirit of America.
I've been wondering where this was at, Erica, that a few months ago, we had nominations.
We did? Not to my knowledge.
Just to-
We did last year.
No, we had discussions on nominations.
Yeah.
I made some nominations.
Yeah, there's people that worked at the cemeteries last summer.
I don't have anything in writing for any type of nomination. I have no emails. If someone said something in meeting, I apologize, but I've had other things to focus on, so that hasn't kind of gone anywhere. We have to put them in the system, their computer system, by June.
Can I say something?
Yes.
At the meeting, they were suggestions only,
Yep.
and Erica said that we would be bringing it back for the April meeting to make determination as to who you wanted to put through for Spirit of America.
Yes, that was my understanding.
But now it's time for you all to make your formal recommendations, and you all also have to determine amongst yourselves, you all may have different ideas. We can issue Spirit of America award to as many people as we would like. However, there has been discussion in the past over different people's feelings about who deserves to be recognized with the Spirit of America award and who may not really be a valid candidate for that award. Those discussions normally happen amongst yourselves and at the open meeting forum, but that's why it's on for discussion at this point. Once you have all those, generally, whoever nominated the person will give me a short write-up or give Lisa a short write-up, and we get them applied for.
Okay, so tonight, we're looking for nominations
Yes,
for the Spirit of America Award.
yes.
Okay. I will nominate Kit Alexander, Ron Sainaman, and Scott Wentworth. And that is because of the volunteer work they did last summer for the town, in specifically Halifax Hill Cemetery, and the work they did for us over there.
Who was the third person?
Scott Wentworth.
Thank you.
Any further nominations?
I have a question.
Yes.
You and Ray did a lot of work as well. Should we ignore that, or can I nominate you and Ray?
You asking me, I'd say ignore it. Ray can speak for himself, but I'd say ignore it.
Ignore it. Ignore it.
What if I don't want them?
That's right.
I can't,
We can
I
take
can't
a
do
council
nothing about
vote.
that.
We'll take a
I
vote
know
of
you
the council
don't
and he'll be
ignore a lot of
outvoted.
things. That I do realize.
If you guys want it ignored, I will. I just,
We,
It-
in general, the award has been given to people who do not otherwise work for the
Okay.
town.
okay. Well,
And as I found out, I got a paycheck from the town last week. So I
Once a
guess
quarter.
we work for the town.
I'll honor your wishes.
Thank you, sir. Any other nominations? Do we vote on this tonight, Erica, or our next meeting?
You can't vote on it.
You can vote on it tonight. It's not a formal vote, it's more just if everyone is agreement with this, then I need you to do a short write-up and get it to us and we can do it. But yes, you can vote on this.
And if anybody thinks of anybody in between time, we still have another meeting.
We do.
You can bring your nominations to the next meeting, and then we can vote on it at the next meeting too. I think that would be appropriate.
Does everybody agree with the three names I mentioned?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. And thank you, councilors, for approving that. That means a lot to them, and I know it means a lot to me. Thank you.
Our next item is the budget vote timing, is what we have it listed as.
So in order to have the school referendum, we have to have the budget voted upon, the second reading, no later than May 14th. We'll be voting with the first reading. That will be done on May 9th at our regular monthly council meeting. My suggestion is that we call a special meeting for May 12th to hold the second reading. That would be a Thursday night.
And when the public hearing will be on the 9th?
Yes.
And we still have our,
Evening,
I'm sorry?
would that be on the 9th at 6 o'clock?
That's our regular meeting.
That's our regular meeting. We would do the
Oh,
12th,
I got June.
yeah, we would do the 12th at 6 PM. Standard meeting time, just for a second reading, it would be a non-standard night, special meeting on
The 12th,
the 12th.
So,
6 o'clock?
Yes, sir.
anybody have a problem with any of those dates, times? We do have a workshop scheduled for Wednesday, 8:30,
This Wednesday?
this Wednesday,
Yeah,
day after tomorrow.
yes.
8:30, Jerry. Lee, again, if you can't make the whole day, you let us know, and we'll make sure you get the
Yeah,
paperwork necessary that you
Okay,
want,
I'll,
whatever.
yeah, I'll let you know the day before for sure.
Yep.
Thank you.
I will be emailing all of you the full packet tomorrow. Jerry, if you want a hard copy, I can let you know when it's ready if you want to pick it up. But you will all have hard copies for Wednesday morning. I just have to have time to compile the final book.
So we'll have one Wednesday morning.
Yes, you will.
Okay.
If you have a hard copy ready for Jerry, I'd like a hard copy too, but if you don't have it ready, Wednesday morning is fine.
Spent $2,700 on tablets for you guys. Come on.
Wow.
All right, I can get a hard copy.
Jesus, you're annoying.
Eric, could I want to make one for me as
You
well?
must have had a rough day.
Could you make one for me as well, Beckett? Pretty good chance I won't be able to make it.
Okay, so tomorrow evening sometime, your packets will all be ready in hard copy form.
I don't need,
I don't need that copy.
I'm
You're
capable of
gonna need
reading
one for
everything.
Wednesday.
What's that?
Well, you're gonna need one for Wednesday morning.
There's gonna be one here Wednesday morning.
Yes.
I don't need it tomorrow.
But I said only if Jerry needs one for Wednesday.
He's putting the blame on Jerry.
that's all right.
More than likely I won't be able to attend, so I definitely need one.
And we'll make sure you have
You put
one.
the blame on me.
Yeah, yeah, no, we'll make sure you have one, Lee.
Erica, can I add a, did you get my email about adding a discussion item, just really quickly?
Yes, we did.
Because I had to.
We did, and that,
Okay. Really quick.
I had sent it to you, Lisa, to add an additional item.
Oh, I didn't
Ray,
bring it in.
we'll let
Did
it
you
have,
get it?
we'll let it go on, and I have no problem with that, but just so we keep things straight going forward.
No
To
question.
add it to the agenda tonight takes a vote of the council.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Not for discussion.
I am absolutely sure it's my purview.
Go ahead.
We're wasting time.
Oh, go ahead.
You've just spent more time than it would be to hand that out. One of the things is, I just want to update you on the Fort Halifax project with the curbing and the granite post and the flagpole down there. We sent the information through the State of Maine Bureau of Agriculture to the Maine Historic Preservation Commission. They came back and said, some of it was a go, some of it wasn't a go. So this isn't that, this is something a little bit in the future. So what we ended up doing is they disapproved the flagpole by the blockhouse, existing blockhouse They said the flagpole would have destroyed too far into the ground, so we're putting the flagpole that the state bought near the monument, near the pavers in the monument as you enter the park there. Everything else, they said we couldn't put posts in the ground that exceeded 18 inches because normally we would have put it in 4 feet. They said 18 inches is the maximum without a big archaeological dig. So we're going 18 inches and just 3 feet above the ground for the outline of the blockhouse. Now, the nomenclature, what you have in front of you is a nomenclature on the stones themselves, so the 3 stones. Officers' quarters, southwest corner, officers' quarters, southeast corner, and officers' quarters, northeast corner. And the issue that we have in memory of Gerard Hossigner, Friends of Fort Halifax. Normally, on town things that they have to be named or any type of memorial on town-owned property has to be somewhat okayed by the council, or at least an agreement with the council that that would be so. At least have a discussion on it. Amanda McCaslin is currently, right now, formulating a plan for plaques and for naming of, and I don't know, that's not done yet. It would be my suggestion at this point in time that we wait to see that policy and what that policy is before we go naming or agreeing to something on a stone or something. My own personal feeling is, for pavers or for, things that you donate that's not associated with pieces of equipment that the town owns, I don't really feel, I'm not in favor of naming fields or naming the pieces of property that the town owns in memory of somebody. That's just my feeling, and it has nothing to do with the individual. Individual is definitely was, for many, many years, a very, great, and contributed to a lot to the town. And it's not that issue, it's just that's what I feel on that issue. So I just want to get if we could just leave it blank till the policy comes out, and if we could always add it later in the future, even after installation of the thing. So I would, and I have to get back to them because they're requiring this so that we can get the project done. And what's the feeling of the council at this point? Just wait till...
You're recommending we wait, Ray?
Yeah, just
I
cut
have no
that
problem with
in
that.
memory of out right now until we can bring it up with new policy comes in. We can always have somebody come over and add it after.
Well, why don't we wait, Ray, until you get all your things in order? Take care of it all at once.
So we'll eliminate it?
Whatever you recommend, Ray.
We'll eliminate it, then, okay.
Yeah, whatever you just recommended.
Yeah. The other issue really quick is that we're thinking of applying for a Daughters of the American Revolution grant. That grant would put 2 15-foot sections of palisade adjacent to the corners of the officers' quarters. So that would be 15 feet. And it's just something, and if we do get awarded the grant, then it would, to accept the grant, we would have to have council approval at that time. But I just wanted people's input as to, if the grant process is not an easy process, it's time consuming, I gotta get a whole bunch of information, financial information, estimates, and a whole bunch archaeological, have to go through the Maine State Preservation Commission in the state of Maine again for work that would have to be done associated with this project. Just wanted to know whether people wanted for me to continue into that process. I think it's a good thing. I think the palisade would add definition. It's the same type of format that they used in architecture that they used at Fort Weston. So it minimizes the amount of disturbance to the ground, but yet makes a nice visual appearance and adds a definition. So when people go down there, they can start visualizing exactly where the fort. It's made out of cedar. Once you put wood in the ground, once you do that type of thing, the upkeep is, every 10 years you're gonna have to do something with it. It's not like stone. So those are the type of things, and the grant would take care of all the expenses.
Well, that was gonna be my question, right? For what you planned on doing, the grant money will cover.
That would be the
Cover what
idea,
you-
is that
yeah,
there would be no tax money
Yeah.
involved in it, but there's a lot of work involved.
Yeah.
A lot of work involved, and I think it'd be a good thing for the Ford. I think it's just, and it wouldn't happen to summer of 2023. So, and if along the process, we would have to do some type of maybe archaeological limited, and that would be part of the grant money, to do some more archaeological digs in where the king post goes. So you set one post, you set the other post 15 feet apart, and then the rest of the posts are flush with the ground, which isn't historically accurate, but it limits the disturbance and you can't really tell. So those are the type of things that we're looking at. I think it's a good addition. I think it's something that we could do.
Right, when you're talking about future maintenance, I know we're talking about the grant paying upfront on that. Would we need to come up with town funds to maintain or replace that cedar structure in the future? Or would the plan be to try to get more donation money or fundraising or something to do that?
Right now, with the projects that we're dealing with down there, it's all been through private donations. Even after this project, we will still have, and that project, say that project is funded, the Friends of Fort Halifax, which has become very active, I gotta admit, over the last 6 months, does have quite a substantial amount of funds that would be available, and we would increase those funds with the idea of keeping maintenance of those facilities. And we would, again, re-grant, if we could, for replacement of the structure. Fort Halifax, I think, they have they're doing some grants now they've been in 20 years, I believe. And so we're talking 20 years that they've had that palisade in place. So, it lasts for quite a bit of a time, so.
We should probably create a page specifically for the Friends of Fort Halifax as well, if you want to get with me on what you'd like to see on that.
Yeah, that would be fine. Yeah, so we can get some donations and stuff, and, So we'll go ahead and we'll start the application process and get the stuff we need. Okay, sounds good. That's all I got.
That's it.
Motion to
Anybody?
adjourn.
And thank you, Jeff.
Second?
All those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Meeting is closed.